What would you do for $20,000? The 2023 documentary Monster Inside, America's Most Extreme Haunted House, takes us into the horrifying world of McKamey Manor, the so-called haunted house that pushes people to their physical and psychological breaking points by way of abuse and torture through the lure of a cash reward. In this episode, we explore why people are drawn to extreme challenges, how the thrill of risk can override common sense, and what this says about human nature when money and glory are on the line. You're listening to Real Stories, Real Problems with Rachael and Roxanne.
Hi, Rachel. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you, Roxanne?
Oh, I am so psyched to be doing this documentary. I honestly don't know what I enjoyed more, watching the documentary or watching you watch the documentary. Because you weren't familiar with McKamey Manor.
Oh, this is the first I'd ever heard of it.
Well,
You brought it up.
I have been down the 6-hour rabbit hole many, many times. I've been tracking Russ's bizarre progress for the last several years. So when they suggested that we're going to do some scary, spooky stuff for Halloween month, I was like, oh, I know exactly what I want her to watch. And it was so worth it. Don't you think it was worth it?
Yeah, I feel both that I know a new thing
Yeah.
and less faith in humanity. So
Yeah.
that's what a wonderful combination.
Right.
But this documentary was made in 2023, so it's a couple years old at this point. And what was going on in 2023?
Well, the Russian invasion of the Ukraine continued to get more serious. King Charles III was coronated in September. And the United States, as usual, experienced several devastating mass shootings, including attacks in Southern California, Nashville, and Maine. And India officially surpassed China in population, and India now has 1.4 billion people.
Yeah, I know, logically, I know that there is a king of England, King Charles.
Yeah.
But in my brain, that's not a thing.
That's not a thing, no.
For my entire life, for my parents' entire life, there has only been a queen.
Right, Queen Elizabeth. That's always been...
And so, male royalty sounds fake. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's just...
Charles. Yeah. But he's doing a good job, so we'll throw support behind.
As much as one can do a good job as a king or queen.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this documentary, within that world, we get to learn about McKamey Manor.
And what a joy it was for you, I'm sure.
And this was billed, essentially, this was a guy, Russ McKamey, who he was in the Navy for 23 years. He was a recruiting officer. And he had a sadistic side. He liked the idea of torturing people.
Right.
And so he created what he called an immersible horror experience.
Right. And immersive was the key word there, considering how much waterboarding he did.
And burying people in mud and
Yes.
What could have been feces and other crap.
Vomit.
Oh, yeah, it was disgusting.
Yeah.
And he started it as a regular standard haunted house.
Sure.
Like you do.
Right.
And the notes say a boo haunt.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what he called it.
That's what it's called in the horror haunted house community. I found this out. A boo haunt is basically your typical haunted house that you go through and things jump out at you and scare you. But there's no touching. There's no grabbing. Kids can go through, it's a very family-friendly thing. But the problem was that Russ wasn't getting his jollies as much with the just jumping out and scaring people. So he made it a little more hardcore over the years.
Well, and for me, this is horrifying for a number of reasons. Because one, I love horror. I love a spooky movie. I love a scary story.
Yeah.
I love a dark, stormy night to read my spooky story. It's so great. I do not like haunted houses.
No.
Not the gentlest boo house. I don't want to be there. The idea that I'm in a situation that I am not controlling, that there is no distance there.
Right.
I don't like it.
Well, I'm a hitter, so I can't go. No, I'm a hitter. I've walloped many people in self defense, so I would not. I would end up hurting other people at the haunted house. But no, I'm like you. I want my scares in book form or in movie form because life is too goddamn terrifying now to add anything else to it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't even know how you would make a haunted house in 2025. You know, like, we're just going to show the news.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Uh, but so Russ was created like essentially a standard haunted house, and it wasn't enough for him. He wanted it to be more. He wanted it to be scarier. He wanted it to induce real terror in people, and he wanted to film all
of it. Yeah, that was his thing. He wants to be a movie maker. He calls himself a showman. All smoke and mirrors and whatnot, but it's totally not.
Yeah, he films the entire time you're there. Like, from the moment you show up and he gives you your waiver to sign.
Right.
And this waiver, oh dear Lord.
The 40-page waiver.
But from the moment you are there to sign this waiver till the end, when you are screaming and crying and yelling the safe words that they will let you out of the torture chamber, it's all being taped. It's all being put on YouTube. It is the nastiest, vilest stuff. And like, while I am vaguely interested to go poke around and see like just how real, I don't want that on my YouTube algorithm.
Oh, see, my algorithm is already sending me straight to hell, so I have absolutely no problem with that.
Yeah, like I'm half tempted to be like, is this really true? But no, you know what?
I know, I assure you it is. There have been several YouTubers who have made it their mission to take down Russ and close McKamey Manor forever. Right now it is closed. Russ is not in jail. He was arrested. We'll get to that in a couple minutes. He is not in jail, but he is not running the haunt anymore. And it seemed to be the fire department and health inspector came in to look at the situation. And just as you were saying, Rachel, about the piles of feces and vomit and stuff, the health inspector said, oh, fuck no, this is not going to happen. So, yeah.
Yeah. Boo, have some hepatitis.
Right, there you go.
Yeah, that's not okay. But yeah, he's got this whole process that he goes through. He's got his whole torture in his head. Like, he's planned this out. This is not an accidental thing. He's really thought through every bit of this. And he has created this myth, this like fake thing that there's a 27,000 person waiting list. And so if he calls you and says, do you want to do the tour? You have to say yes right away, because otherwise he's going to move on to the next person. I do not believe for one hot second that there is a waiting list. I believe he gets like 12 people a year who are like, let's do this. And he's like, yeah, okay.
And you would be right. There is no waiting list. Every person who's ever wanted to go through it have managed somehow within 10 minutes to get that email from Russ saying, oh, we just had a spot open up for this weekend. Are you eligible? And, are you available? Yes, I am. If you're a woman, Russ will want to Zoom with you because he will want to see what you look like to know whether or not he wants to date you. He uses the McKamey Manor also as like a dating app.
Which is the grossest sentence.
Well, no.
Like, it's just the worst.
I didn't want to put those words together in that order either.
And the thing of it is, he does not charge you to go to this haunt, which should tell you something. Because there's never been a haunted house that I've ever seen outside of like maybe something run by a church or whatever. Like, but there's no cost. So he's not making any money on this. The joy is that he gets to torture you, and you're the idiot who signed up for it.
Yeah.
And what he asks is payment is 4 cans of dog food or 1 bag of like
dry dog
food, which at no point did I see a dog or hear him reference having a dog. So I don't know.
I know that he was briefly involved with greyhound rescue, but I have not seen in any of the videos that I've watched any sign of greyhound. I mean, thank God, if this man treats his, the family and his customers like this, can you imagine what he would do with a defenseless animal?
Oh my God.
Oh, no.
But yeah, so You give him dog food.
Right.
And he tortures you for 8 hours. That's what he considers like a fair trade.
Well, it's America.
And the people that sign up for this, the more you tell them it's horrible and don't do it, the more they really want to be a part of this.
Right.
Like one of the guys, Brandon, who billed himself as an adrenaline junkie, was like, if there's not a felony happening, I don't want to go.
Yeah, Brandon had issues.
And they talked to Brandon and they talked to a couple of other people, and they show them signing this 40-page waiver. And in the waiver, it says, we may cut off your hair. We may pull out your teeth. We may inject you with drugs. You may be forced to eat your own vomit. You may have broken bones. You may have a concussion. You may end up with brain damage. And that's just the beginning.
Oh, yes. And death. That's the last one. And death. Russ has said that somebody did lose a tooth and that some guy had a heart attack during his tour.
I imagine.
I don't know how true that is. It's possible that the person who lost the tooth got it by tripping in the dark, falling over and hitting their face with something. I have no doubt a guy had a heart attack. You can't waterboard somebody and, make them go into stress positions and all of that sort of stuff and not put a strain on,
And he does waterboard people.
Oh,
that's like half his show.
Oh, yeah.
And between this and Action Park, there's too many people losing teeth.
I know, exactly.
But yeah, so to even be on this show, because it is a show, he's broadcasting it on YouTube, to be able to go through this haunt and be on this show,
right?
You have to go through a full physical. You have to bring a doctor's note saying that you're physically and mentally sound, which is some bullshit, because if you're doing this, you're not
mentally sound.
You have to pass a background check. You have to show that you have medical insurance. You have to pass a drug test the day of, and you have to be at least 18. Or, you may, and if you're 18 to 20 years old, you have to have a parent approve it, and you have to sign this 40-page waiver, which is, there are some rules beyond, like, we're going to torture the shit out of you. Don't run. No, don't touch the props or the actors. Don't swear. No pushing.
I think the fact that he doesn't allow swearing is hysterical.
Oh, it's because he has it on YouTube.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
They will pull it.
Yep.
Like, we swear, and we're on YouTube. But we're relatively low end, and I make sure everything is labeled not for kids and all of that.
Well, we are fucking professionals.
Indeed. But my goodness, this guy, like, it's nuts. And the thing of it is, not one bit of this waiver is legal. If you took this waiver to a lawyer, they would be like, no, you can't waive this.
Right.
Like
and that has in fact been done. A couple of people have managed to access the waiver, and they brought it to an attorney, and the attorney looked at that, and after he stopped laughing, he said, no, this is no.
Yeah. So this is just the craziest thing that I think I've ever seen. And people are so dumb because, like, if you go in and you tell him anything about yourself, and you do kind of have to, like, he pushes you. If he knows you're in the military, he's going to go harder on you than he does other people. If you tell him, if you were stupid enough to tell him your actual fears, he's going to incorporate that into your tour.
Yeah.
One woman talked about that she told him she was terrified of spiders. And so they were putting giant tarantulas on her.
Right.
And they were getting her all prepped up, like, you can't scream. You're going to scare these spiders. You can't scream. And so she's laying there in her worst fear, literally covered in mud and shit. Her hair has been cut off.
Right.
She's got duct tape on her face from where they've been, like, blindfolding her and gagging her.
Right.
And here, have a spider.
Oh, my God. I couldn't, I had to look away at that point. It was, just terrifying.
Well, and I'm not bothered by things like spiders and snakes and stuff. Like, I don't want them in my house.
No.
But they're animals. They go out and they do their thing. They're not interested in me. Like, I get that. But what world do you sit down with this guy? He's like, okay, I'm going to torture you. Tell me your biggest fear.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're not like, I'm afraid of chocolate cake and naked Jacobs and Momoa and, like, all of why are you doing this to yourself?
Why would you ever do? Oh
Like
my God.
Roxanne is terrified of Hugh Jackman.
Oh,
Don't bring Hugh Jackman.
did not bring Hugh Jackman over here.
And so, like, they stuff you in the back of this van. They put headphones on you. They duct tape your head. They put blindfolds on you. And then they drive you around for like an hour because they don't want you to know that he's taking you to his garage.
Right, yes. He
Like,
drives around the block about 80 times and then goes to his own garage. Yes.
and there's no doctors, there's no medics,
No.
nothing, nobody there to help you
Right.
if something happens to you. And at one point, one of the guys who has been through McKamey Manor said the scariest thing I think I've ever heard is that there's nobody else there. So if something happens to the person who is torturing you,
Right.
no one knows where you are.
Right.
You're going to die in that torture chamber because something happened to that other person.
Yeah. If Russ stroked out or something in the middle of the filming, like you said, the person there does not know that they've driven around the block. They could be an hour away for all they know. They're usually duct taped up their mouths and everything. And, if you're in his freezer full of water, which is one of his little devices, that's it. You're going to die there.
Yeah. And I was so horrified by that. Like, have I ever told you when I graduated college and I got my first job, I had my own apartment. It was just me, my one-bedroom apartment, and my kitten.
Oh,
I adopted a kitten. And I was so happy. And then my shower had sliding glass doors.
Door.
And I'm in the shower, and my cat, who is 15 weeks old, decides he needs to be there with me. Comes flying, hits the glass, but I don't see this. I just hear the noise, and I jerk forward, and I hit my head on the tile.
Oh.
I had a moment where I was like, if I had died, nobody would know I was dead for days.
Exactly.
Because I live by myself.
Sure.
And my boss is going to call my phone and then be like, why didn't you show up to work? They're not going to call anybody.
Right.
So when my lease was up, I found a roommate. That's why I started living with a roommate.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. Or even if you just slipped in the tub and got knocked unconscious, that happens to many, many people.
Right. Or any number of things. If there's like a carbon monoxide leak or something.
Yeah.
There's a number of things that can cause you to be hurt or dead, and nobody would know.
Right.
And so despite the fact that I am so highly introverted that the idea of other people repulses me a little bit, I had, I moved in with a friend.
Yeah.
And then, when that ended, I had another friend come in and take her room. And then I moved to New York and I had a roommate. And then I met my husband and we moved in together. And so, like, I haven't lived alone, despite the fact that is my preferred state of being.
Right.
In 20 years, because the idea that, oh my goodness, if something happened to me, who would know?
Right.
And so to go through this and know that, oh my gosh, nobody has any idea where I am. If I die, they're not going to call the police and be like, we accidentally killed somebody.
Right, exactly.
They're going to bury your corpse under the garage and call it a day.
Yeah. I remember at the end of the documentary, you said to me, that guy clearly has bodies buried in his yard.
Yeah. Like, quite honestly, I am shocked that the FBI has not been out there with like a backhoe and a metal
cadaver dogs and all that sort of stuff. Well, there's plenty of food for the cadaver dogs from the dog food people bring in.
Maybe that's why he's collecting the dog food.
Right. It's going to bribe the cadaver dogs.
But throughout this, his torture is all military based. Like, there's so much waterboarding. Waterboards so many people. And he does, like, the keeping you up for hours and hours and hours. One woman got kept awake for 30-some hours.
30 hours before her tour even started, because that's when a lot of it starts. The 24 hours before your appointment, you are to stay up all night. I don't know how Russ enforces this, but you have to stay up all night. And then when you're sluggish, sleep deprived, and weird, that's when he starts the psychological stuff with the waiver,
Yeah, and quite frankly, the fact that you are in a sleep-deprived state when you're signing the waiver already makes it not enforceable.
Absolutely. It's under duress.
Yeah, so it is just horrifying, and he is dunking people in freezing cold water. He's burying people in, like, all sorts of crud and stuff, and he's making you do tasks in this. Like, at one point, he drops a woman in what looks like the nastiest, like, if the old stagnant pond was filled with
like sewage.
Yeah,
it was exactly what it looked like.
Gross
Water.
And he's yelling at her, "You got to find the baby bottle. There's a baby bottle in there somewhere. You got to find it." And they're doing this in mean, degrading voices and tones, and they're treating you just terribly. You're being verbally abused in addition to the physical abuse. And so if you can't accomplish the goal, then you don't win. Like, you can't win the thing. And as they go on, it becomes clear that it's not possible to win the $20,000 that is promised to you, because either you are going to tap out, which most people do, or if you get close, Russ says, "No, I can see that you are too psychologically gone. We can't keep doing this. I'm calling it."
Right. That's exactly what happens. Russ always ends the tour either by one of those two ways. So he's never had to give out $20,000. He doesn't have $20,000. What he does have, back taxes, over $100,000, I believe.
Yeah, he owes so much money that he cannot pay because Russ works at Walmart. He works in the garden center at his local Walmart.
You too can go to that Walmart and see Russ.
And like, a woman actually goes through his line and buys something from him to get him on tape to show you that, yes, it's Russ McKamey working at Walmart.
Right. Yep. With his little blue vest and his little tag that says Russ. Yeah. So go to the Walmart in Summertown, Tennessee, everybody, and you can see Russ.
And I mean, realistically, how much does he need? He needs to be able to cover his bills, and he needs you to come into his torture room.
Right.
And that's all he wants out of life. So,
yeah, what a simple man, you know? Yeah.
But yeah, apparently, like, he was mentoring a dominatrix or something. Can you explain that? Because I don't.
Oh, no, it wasn't Russ that was mentoring. It was an expert that was speaking in the documentary. We don't know his real name, but he is a full professor at Idaho State University. And he was the one that was mentoring a dominatrix. I don't know how that works. I would be fascinated. Listeners, let us know in the comments. And he goes by the name Dr. Deviance, which is a nickname that the dominatrix gave him. And he was very, very interested in the subject of deviant leisure, which is a BDSM term. It's mostly a sexual term, but people who get off on violent things, that is considered a deviant leisure nature.
Yeah, and he said, didn't he say that this is sometimes a need, that some people have deviant needs, and that they need, heavy on the quotes, McKamey Manor. Right. But I got to tell you, we saw a lot of videos of people, not one of them looked like they were sexually satisfied.
No. I think sex is the last thing on their mind.
But yeah, there was nobody who was like, "Oh, please waterboard me." Yeah. Like, there's none of that.
No.
So the idea that this is a deviant, like, sexual preference, I'm going to say there's nobody out there would be interested in that, but nobody who ever went to McKamey Manor.
No, absolutely not. Yeah.
And like, apparently one of the guys, Brandon, the adrenaline junkie, he signed up for this because he is punishing himself. He served in 3 tours in Iraq, and he has severe survival skills from the things he did and the things he saw. And I mean, as somebody who, like, I was in high school, just coming into college, like, my freshman year of college when 9/11 happened.
Okay.
And then it became we're all going to volunteer, we're going to join the army, and we're going to go defend America.
Okay.
So I saw, and this was in Texas, mind you.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense.
So I saw a huge number of both men and women my age who were convinced they needed to serve their country by going to Iraq to defend us from the terrorists.
Yeah.
And some of them still feel like they did a good thing, but most of the people I know who served walked away from that thinking, I got conned into torturing and murdering people in another country.
Under the flag of patriotism.
Yeah. And so Brandon seems to be one of those who came back and was like, what did I do? And so he started essentially giving parts of himself away. He donated a kidney, donated part of his liver. He signed up to be a bone marrow donor. And he is eternally punishing himself. And part of what he did to punish himself was to go through McKamey Manor.
I don't know why getting a therapist wasn't an option. He jumps right to Russ McKamey. I mean, I feel terrible for him because, 3 tours in Iraq, that's exhausting. And he came home and he just needed more and more vicious punishment.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think he wants therapy. I think he wants to be punished, and
probably.
I would encourage him, Brandon, if you're listening, find a therapist, somebody who will talk to you about this. But yeah, not Russ McKamey. Good God.
No, nobody wants Russ.
And there was a psychologist or a therapist who was working at Guantanamo Bay at one point who specialized in torture victims, who explained that all torture impacts you psychologically, and it kind of rewires your neural pathways.
Right.
And it changes the way your brain works. It changes the way that you respond to situations. It changes the way that you intuit the things around you.
Which is the basics of cognitive behavioral therapy, but Russ was using his superpowers for evil.
Yeah. And this isn't just a torture thing. If you go through a traumatic event, this is essentially PTSD is the start of this. If you have faced an elongated, torturous experience, it's going to change your brain. It can't not change your brain.
Right.
So that was just so difficult. And to see this psychologist who was talking about this, she seemed really blasé about the whole thing.
She wasn't very concerned about it, but I don't know. Maybe she just doesn't. I don't know. Edit that part out.
I don't know. I kind of want to show that clip to my therapist and be like, "Tell me about this lady."
Yeah, that's a good idea. We'll copy the video. Tell it to our therapist.
But yeah, so Russ really seemed to get off on the power dynamic that, especially with men, where he is harming you, he has control of you, you will do what he says, and that makes him very, very happy.
Yeah.
And it's worse with women because he's using this as an excuse to get close to you, to touch you, to assault you. He is very much into the he wants to be the abuser in the BDSM kind of.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
And it was hard watching all of these young women who were, pretty lovely, in their, early 20s.
Yeah.
Go through this, and he is systematically, he's ripping their beauty away. He's cutting off their hair, he's scarring them and cutting them, and
right.
I don't know what his goal is in that.
Well, he wants to assert his power. He wants to be the dominant partner. He wants to be the alpha. And he knows that he's too skeezy to get women on the outside. So he exploits his manner to get them on the inside.
And apparently when he does find a girlfriend who's not aware of him, he makes them do these McKamey Manor tours every day.
Yeah. And he says that he's got to test out the new equipment. He wants to see how things are going to work. So yeah, whatever woman he happens to be treading on this week gets to be the one to test out the manor every day.
Yeah. And he does not stop. There's no amount of begging you can do that will make him stop. He will ignore the safe word that you're given because apparently the safe word is safety.
Right.
Or something very similar. And it doesn't matter if you say it. You're not getting out of there.
No, he decides to let you out.
Yeah, you have put yourself in his hands, and he is going to do what he's going to do until he's done.
And there are no more actors at McKamey Manor helping him with any of this stuff. For the last several years, it has been Russ alone. So that makes it even scarier that something could happen to him And nobody, not even people that live with him, know where you are.
Yeah, nobody's clocking in for their shift tomorrow to come find you.
Exactly.
And they talked to some of the people who had been working with him. And one of the guys was like, and that's the day I quit, when they're showing a video, is that I couldn't do this anymore. This was no longer me scaring other people.
Right.
This had gone beyond that.
Right.
And so, like, one guy really thought he was going to die.
Yeah.
He got buried in mud, and he was really concerned that he did not think he was going to live through it.
Right. Well, the other thing is, you also, when you're in that kind of psychological torment, and you know that one man is in charge of whether you're going to live or die, that must be absolutely terrifying, because obviously Russ is insane. I believe he's probably a sociopath. And you're alone with him, and he's got you at a disadvantage. You're sleep deprived, you're disoriented, you're not wearing your glasses or hearing aids or whatever you might else need, and you're freaking out. So, of course, you're going to be at his mercy.
At no point in this is he pausing for lunch. You're not getting water breaks. You're not getting hydrated. You are just there trying not to die until he lets you out. And apparently his ex-wife, who I don't know what stupid bitch thought marrying him was a good idea.
And two of them.
Of course
Yeah,
there have.
Of course there have. Yeah, his ex-wife Carol, in the beginning, she was the one editing the videos, because as we said, he films every moment, so he's got like 9 hours of footage that he needs to whittle down into a movie. He says, we're making a movie. He also would tell the participants that he was live streaming their tours to people in Las Vegas and the Philippines, and that the people in Las Vegas were betting on them and everything like that. And that is not true. That is absolutely not true. That's been proven false.
Yeah, I gotta say, both of his ex-wives probably are the ones who write love letters to serial killers. There's no way that you're like, yes, this is the one.
One for me. I want this part-time Walmart employee, part-time wedding singer. That was his other gig. He was a wedding singer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. I guess he wants to be the center of attention. And, so of course he's going to go for a theatrical thing, theatrical job, but come on.
But yeah, he says at one point, this woman is going through the tour, and she's been awake for 30 hours, and she is crying and like passing out. And he says to her, "You'd be surprised at what you do to get the right shot." And she fell asleep because she has been tortured to the point of exhaustion.
Mm-hmm.
And she commented that she doesn't know what happened.
Yeah.
Russ was there. He had a camera. She was alone with him and had been tortured significantly. She has no idea. Was she sexually assaulted?
Yeah, she blacked out.
Yeah, she does not know, and will never know, because there's no way that she can like force him to produce video footage or whatever.
Yeah. It didn't happen.
Yeah,
it's not possible. Yeah, and God knows how many other times this happened with a woman, because you can compartmentalize and forget a lot of the torture and things like that, and it'll come back to you 20 years later. So.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're being tortured that badly, I mean, I'm not saying you wouldn't notice being assaulted, but would you be able to separate that out and be like, this is a separate thing that's happening?
I don't know, especially if your eyes are covered and you've got headphones with things. They said that he used a recording of babies crying in the headphones, which is, of course, a ghastly sound. So, yeah, you're not going to know if you're disoriented and 2 of your senses are cut off.
Yeah. So this could have been a problem for dozens of women.
Yeah.
And they would never know.
Yeah.
And so many of them, in the prospect of talking to this documentary, were like, well, what could I do? I signed the waiver.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Really?
Like, okay, good for you. maybe go bring that waiver to a lawyer or your dad or
right.
somebody else and be like, this is what happened to me.
Right.
And see if maybe somebody can work that.
The whole concept of waivers is stupid. If you ask me to hit you with a 2x4, and I said, Rachel, you need to sign a document to let, okay, you could still sue me for aggravated assault. It still happened. So what if you signed the waiver? That doesn't matter. I'm beating you over the head with a 2x4. That's a crime.
Yeah, there is no such thing as you getting people to waive their right to letting you commit crime on them.
On them, right, exactly.
And anytime that a waiver is legally enforceable, it's like when you go to the dentist or the doctor and they're like, this is a dangerous procedure.
Yeah, right.
Something could happen. You know that going in. They're not trying to hurt you or kill you. They're offering a helpful service.
Right.
And there's a possibility that something bad might happen.
They're protecting their medical licenses and their malpractice insurance and all of that.
Yeah. And so that kind of waiver, 100% legally binding. Like, you could maybe still, like, if you could prove that they were aggravated and doing things on purpose, the waiver would no longer apply. This is only purposeful, aggravated assault.
Absolutely.
There is no, oops, we were trying to clean your colon and you died.
Right, exactly. Oh, at the end of the notes, I have count the felonies, and it's a whole list of the felonies that Russ has committed with his little lifestyle here.
Yeah, and as he's doing this to people, and he's cutting them off, nobody can win the $20,000, and it was sad. Several of these people were like, I did this because I needed the money.
Right.
I needed medical treatment, or I needed to, like, we had just gotten married and we couldn't cover the bills. And, like, so people went into this with the idea that there was a solid shot at the money.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no money. There was never.
Your first sense that something was off, the fact that he doesn't charge you any money, I would be thinking, how did he come up with this $20,000? The man's got a part-time job. He, one person does a tour a week, but it doesn't cost anything. And it's not like he's an eccentric billionaire that just wants to hand out $20,000 and, by the way, lives in a camper,
Yeah. And I say this on more than one documentary. If you take anything away from Real Problems, Real Stories with Rachael and Roxanne, if they cannot get insurance, don't work with the company.
Exactly.
Like, there is no way he walked into, like, Allstate and was like, where's my haunted house insurance?
Insurance, right, exactly.
Like, that's not a thing. He is not insured to cover you if he hurts you. There is no cash prize.
Right.
And if you walked into this and you weren't like, so let me see your liability insurance policy. Let me see, like, these are questions you should ask.
Yeah.
So please, let that be the lesson that I can impart to you.
There you go. Listen to Rachel. She knows what she's talking about.
But yeah, so all of these people are being tortured, and they all come out of it, and they all have the same message. Do not do this. This is torture. It's not what you think it's going to be. And Russ leans into that. He uses that in the advertisement to be like, are you strong enough to get through what these people could?
Oh, yeah. His tagline in the commercials is, you don't want to do this. You really don't want to do this. And he's right. You're not wrong, Russ.
And so these people who have been tortured by him have come together. They've put together Facebook pages. Mm-hmm. They are clearly making documentaries.
Oh, yes.
And here's the thing. And Russ just responds, he's like, everybody's a hater. They don't like me. They don't appreciate what I'm doing. This is an art form, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so one guy figured out that Russ is real dumb and hacked into his email by calling the email company, because he uses a very old email address, and it's like, hey, I forgot my password. And they're like, when did you last log in? And she's like, yesterday. And they're like, that's true. Let me give you your password. So they got into his email, and that's how they start figuring out he has no money. He owes all these back taxes. Like, they're digging in and finding out that Russ is essentially a stupid monster.
Yeah.
Like, he
is so stupid.
And so they're putting together, like, all these petitions against him, and they're trying to take him to court to hold him responsible. And so they ended up putting together a petition that got 14,000 signatures, and it shut down McKamey Manor in California.
Right.
So he moved to Tennessee, and he opened McKamey Manor again in Tennessee. And they talked to, I think it was one of the employees there who went over the different types of Russ.
Oh, yes. It was the younger guy's name was Chris. Yeah, he said that there are three different Russes. There's friendly Russ, which is how he appears to you in the beginning. Then there's scary Russ, which is him in the haunted house with you. And then there's the real Russ, who is profoundly disturbed, has all sorts of diagnosed mental illnesses, and is a criminal. So, yeah.
Yeah, and one of his things is that he wants women bodybuilders. He wants men who've been in the Marines. He wants people who are physically strong,
right,
and that he interprets or thinks of as stronger than him or better than him. And then he wants to dominate those people.
He wants to bring them to their knees and have them beg, please, Russ, please let me out. Let me out.
Yeah, he makes you beg. He gives you a fake name. Everybody who goes through the haunted house is called Jay.
Yeah.
He holds you at knife point and forces you to identify yourself as Jay. And that's when he assigns you your safe word. And I feel like Jay is probably the one buried under the garage.
Oh, see, I was wondering too, who's Jay? Who was the real Jay? The original Jay.
The original Jay is buried on his garage. That's my bet.
Son Jay.
But yeah, and then they talked to, we had talked about Melissa, the woman who had been kept awake for 30 hours and then thought she may have been sexually assaulted. And then, like, other extreme haunts, when you go through them, they have people afterwards who are there to, like, calm you down and walk you through what just happened and, like, help you process what you just put yourself through. So that you're not like, okay, here's all your adrenaline, get in your car.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there are four, from what I've seen online and the research I've done, there are four excellent, well-insured and well-supervised immersive haunt experiences in the United States. One is Miasma, one is Crucible, and that's spelled Krusabel. I don't know why they spell it that way. One is Blackout, and the other is Sylvan, Sylvan. And they have a battalion of people working there, doctors, medics, therapists. And after your experience is over, and they all safe words, and it does stop immediately. They will get you in a nice, comfortable room. They'll talk you down. They'll show you how they did certain illusions. And they'll make sure you're okay before you leave.
Yeah, Russ doesn't do any of that.
No.
That he is not concerned with whether or not you walk away from this okay. He is concerned with whether or not he got to abuse you. And he declined to be in the documentary. They said they asked him several times.
Yeah.
And he would not be part of it. And I pulled up Roxanne's list of felonies.
Okay, this is a game called Count the Felonies. Okay, for Russ, we have kidnapping, false imprisonment, aggravated assault, assault with a deadly weapon, reckless endangerment, tax evasion, and more OSHA violations than you could possibly count.
And there are some insurance violations in there too.
Yes.
But yeah, so he is looking to trick people into letting him torment them. And when you go through his, like, history, apparently he was an abusive father. Neither of his kids want to have anything to do with him.
He had a son and a daughter, and they're adults, and they will not talk to him or about him.
And in fact, one of the emails that the guy found in his email address was, "You are a sick son of a bitch. Don't ever talk to me again. As far as I'm concerned, from this point in my life, you are never to contact me again." And it was his son.
It was his son, yeah.
And then he's apparently a sexual sadist.
Yeah.
His girlfriends have ended up in the hospital more than once.
Right.
Because of biting and slapping and punching and stuff during sexual...
Yeah, this is not normal, rough sex, and it's certainly not consensual sex of any kind.
Yeah. Apparently he has OCD.
Yes. I know. It doesn't sound like it would be. His OCD manifests itself in repetition, like numbers and clicks and things like that. And it's clearly not something to do with being clean, because
I was about to say, everybody I know who's OCD, like, it has to be clean.
no, Russ has manifested itself differently. Yeah.
And like he has, he's made some pedophilia comments and things that I won't say here because that, I don't want to get pulled off of any of our sources. But yeah, he's not great there. And he apparently in July of 2024 was arrested on charges of attempted second-degree murder, rape, and domestic assault. The charges were dropped in September. I don't remember why they
prosecutorial misconduct.
Of course.
Yeah.
So this is not an okay guy.
No, this is not at all. I mean, the reason that he got arrested finally, was he put his girlfriend in the hospital. So that was the attempted murder. He got women to stay with him because he kept saying that he would kill himself if they left him. He knows how to manipulate people. I mean, he's got every single sign of sociopathy.
Yeah. And as people are signing up for this, like they're talking to the people who are signing up for this experience, and they really want an extreme challenge. And it is one of those things where as you're doing stuff, you have to push that boundary more and more. And it's people who have been pushed to a brink where there is nothing beyond what they can do. And this is the next step.
Right.
And that the psychiatrist that they talked to had talked about what happens when you desensitize yourself to this kind of thing in search of a thrill or rush. And it's not good.
No, I mean, adrenaline is like any external drug. The more you experience it, the less effective it is, and you need more and more and more, to achieve that same high, for lack of a better term.
Yeah. And the fact that he coupled this with a fake promise of cash means he found the people who were at the ends of the extreme and the people who were so desperate that this seemed like a viable option.
Yeah, exactly.
And as the economy gets worse and worse, there will be more and more people who fall into this. Well, I need the $20,000. So he's just setting himself up for like eternal customers, I guess, is what he's aiming for. But also, beyond all of that, one woman was really into the fact that she developed a YouTube following from this.
Yes.
That she had talked about. She had all of these online followers who all thought she was so great. They said she did so well. And she really, leaned into the popularity that she got from being tortured on film.
Yeah. I guess make lemonade out of lemons if you got. I don't know. I think we have a lot more to offer. We've never been tortured on YouTube.
But yeah, so this was just. There are certain signs that you need to look for when you're signing up for something or looking to, whether it's taking a new job or, entering a contest or what. The concept of too good to be true should be a thing that you think about.
Right.
And if you're not putting in the time it takes to think through what does this mean, how realistic could this be,
right,
you're putting yourself in a dangerous spot. This is a type of fraud. This is a scam. I was trying to come up with the word. Is there a word for somebody who falsely claims they're going to give you money if you let them torture you, and there is no
well, it's kind of a bait and switch. But the thing is, Russ isn't earning anything out of this. I mean, he's asking for the dog food, but no cash. Certainly nothing that can be traced.
And honestly, I wonder if the reason he does not ask for cash is because taking money for it would then make him, these are then costs.
A business owner. And he would have to have all sorts of permits and insurance.
Much the same way that the Titan submersible disaster,
yes,
they did not have quote unquote customers. You paid money, but it was like a donation to the company. It was separate of your ride down to the Titanic where they're going to implode you. Like it was,
implode you. Yeah.
It was the kind of thing where if you're signing up for something that seems cool and extreme and different and they're not charging you any money for it, be wary.
Yeah.
Like, be so wary.
Do your research. Go online, look, ask, and talk to other people, especially your lawyer. Okay?
Yeah, if you are signing up for something and there's no cost, that is their way of saying that I can't legally do this as a business.
Right.
And that should give you pause.
Yeah.
And so, like, as we're ending, like, coming toward the end of our Halloween season episodes, we've got one more next week.
Right.
But this is a thing, like, this is scary on a number of levels. Not just, like, the torture, not just, but the fact that this is allowed to exist in our society and that nobody can do anything about it.
Well, what's even scarier is that in Tennessee, he's a little more secluded than in San Diego. So, and he has gone to the Summertown, Tennessee Police Department and said, listen, tonight I'm doing the show. You're going to hear screaming. You're going to be begging. You're going to hear whimpering and crashing and all that sort of stuff. But she's an actress. It's part of the show that we're doing. So don't come over if people call and complain. So, Jesus, he could go nuts at the last minute and really kill somebody. And the police will just be sitting there twiddling their thumbs thinking, oh, well, it's just Russ McKamey having a show at McKamey Manor.
Well, and when I think back on, like, Jeffrey Dahmer and Ed Gein and people who, like, we look back and we're like, they were monsters. If they had put it on YouTube,
oh my God,
they would never be stopped. Like that.
Oh my God, I never even thought of something like that. Jesus, if Albert Fish had YouTube, oh my God.
Yeah, this is so unnerving and uncomfortable and so dangerous. And, like, please don't.
Yeah, just
like,
don't.
Just like, I am a mom. I'm not your mom, but as a mom, please just don't.
No. Well, your kid's got more sense.
Yes.
She would never go to McKamey Manor.
No, absolutely she would not.
Nor would I.
But thanks for listening to Real Stories, Real Problems with your hosts, Rachael and Roxanne. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into desperation, notoriety, and Monster Inside, America's most extreme haunted house. Join us again next week for a glimpse into another spooky financial problem and a documentary all about it. If you enjoyed our show today, please remember to like, subscribe, and leave us a review on your podcast app. Thanks for listening and see you again next week.
Bye for now.